Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Easier Said Than Done podcast. And I'm very excited today to have Matt McIvor on the show today. Now, Matt's a very funny guy. Hopefully, he'll put on a real show for you. I don't know. No pressure, Matt. But Matt's one of our students at the City in a Circle program, has got a really interesting background, has done a top rated boot camp before, is works in California and has been one of the strongest contributors to the program and got a lot out of it, worked really hard. I gave him a lot of SHIT for it during the program, just teasing him because Matt's also a dad. And so he's a very
Mhm.
conscientious dad. And he's one of those people you listen to him and you're like, okay, I've got no excuses because this guy's able to handle it all. So why can't I? So, Matt, thanks for taking the time. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Yeah, thank you for having me. That is a wholehearted endorsement, and I still don't have it wrapped around my head. But yeah, hi, happy to be on the podcast. But yeah, I still don't feel like I have it figured out as far as
Nobody
the
does, dude.
transition. But
Nobody does. The
but
transition's a hard thing. I mean, you're almost there. So why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your story, when you started learning to code, if you're happy sharing what you do for what you were doing for a living, etc.
sure. So for almost 10 years now, I've been working as a financial analyst for a university in California, and I wanted to kind of change direction into software engineering because I was more interested in building things and having a kind of a quick turnaround like on what I was actually implementing. And I like I don't know, engineering and building. And I finished a boot camp, let's see, 2 years ago, which was a fantastic boot camp. I did learn a lot, but it was I felt like I finished the boot camp and then I was kind of off on my own as far as where to apply. You have a handful of personal projects, but nothing much kind of under your belt. And then I feel like I didn't really have a strong grasp of what it actually meant to be a software engineer.
Welcome to Easier Said Than Done with me, Zubin, where I share with you the tens of thousands of dollars worth of self-development that I did on my journey from 37-year-old lawyer to professional software engineer. The goal of this podcast is to show you how to actually do those things that are easier said than done.
I finished a boot camp, let's see, 2 years ago, which was a fantastic boot camp. I did learn a lot, but it was I felt like I finished the boot camp and then I was kind of off on my own. I have a handful of personal projects, but nothing much kind of under your belt. And then I feel like I didn't really have a strong grasp of what it actually meant to be a software engineer. I was pretty good at the handful of personal projects and the stack that we used, which is full stack JavaScript. But yeah, and then after the birth of my son, which was fantastic, but it's kinda set me back a year as far as being diligent in applying and interviewing and coding on the side. I was a little aimless, and I was happy to hop on Zubin's, I guess, roadmap. Also, his story resonated with me because he was 37 at the time of his career change. I am 37 currently, so I figured it was kind of a good fit there. And yeah,
Actually,
it's
you can
been good
refer to
so
me as
far.
your. I'm right here, so you can sort of just say your. You
Yeah,
don't have to
I
say
it's
it.
funny, I'm imagining speaking to an
To
audience at the
another
same
audience. Yeah,
time.
I can
Yeah.
tell you're totally rehearsing for the interview. So, I mean, and that's a lot, man. Like, his life can get in the way sometimes. And when I did your baselining, when I was reviewing the code, when bringing you into the program, and I was trying to figure out where to start you off from, it was clear that you were quite strongly what I would call code literate,
Mhm,
but far away from being ready for an engineering job. And I
mhm,
think that the easiest way to help people understand what that means is like Matt and I, we speak English really well. No problems.
mhm.
We understand English really well. We're very English literate. We can read, we can write essays if we need to. But if we had to go from here to becoming a published author, we're
Yeah,
going to flounder a bit. That's a totally
yeah.
different thing. And I think that's the difference between learning to code and getting hired in a highly competitive software engineering world for a good salary, choosing the right kind of work that sets you up for growth in the long term is kind of like wanting to be on the bestseller list,
Mhm,
not
mhm.
just writing high school essays. So, and that's what I encourage more people to keep in mind. So, in your specific example, looking back now, Matt, because you've obviously been trying for a few years and the baby came along, you obviously had a very positive experience at the boot camp. But why do you think it didn't deliver you all the way to your goals? What do you think was missing?
I think the gap for me was the experience,
Mhm.
having experience. I mean, you it's funny, you finish a boot camp and then you find yourself, okay, I've been applying for this job for maybe a few months, but they say, tell me about yourself, tell me about your experience. And you really have nothing up until then, except for a handful of projects, which is understandable. But I would say between finishing boot camp and to where I am now, which I feel night and day, much stronger. I think doing projects on the side, currently I'm working for 2 startups on the side, and I think having just this it's weird. It's not a hard and fast, like, boom, I have experience, like, because you're not just gonna get hired immediately
Yeah.
for, like, no experience. So when you have these kind of 10 hours a week side projects, side startups, I think
Yeah.
that kinda gradually grows your experience, and now all of a sudden I have recruiters reaching out to me, which is a fantastic place to be in.
Right.
I
And
mean,
so, can I
yeah,
ask, because you said 9 day difference between now and when you finish the boot camp, what changed for you?
I think what I've done in the last year, I don't know if this is d I mean, I do think this is directly from your program, is I have this experience with these side projects, which are startups. I'm working with groups, like teams of people, one team and a different team, and that gives me a lot of sort of examples to speak to when I interview. The whole
Yeah.
STAR method,
Yeah.
there's all of a sudden I have dozens of scenarios, and tell me about a time when type of stories.
Know that you should be looking out and collecting those because we talk about that a lot in the program. We spend an
Yeah.
entire module on that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then the program itself is just lights a fire under your butt to actually keep working, keep pushing. I think before the program, when I was in the gap between the boot camp and starting the program, it's really hard to know if you're going in the right direction.
Hey, hope you're enjoying this episode. Listen, I bet you're tired of the social media BS, you're confused and overwhelmed, and all you want is for someone to just show you a clear path to a coding career, right? We get it. My partner Brian and I, we changed to code in our 30s, and we can help you do it too. Brian and I have done all sorts of engineering work from startups to Google, and now we've built an exclusive private mentorship program designed to get you from beginner to professional developer. Whether you've done a coding bootcamp, you have a computer science degree, or you're starting from zero, it doesn't matter. We'll build you a step by step and customized plan, not just for the coding stuff, but for the entire career change process. Look, I'll be honest, the program is not easy and it's not short. But if you do the work, you'll get results that will change your life, if that's what you want. So go to parsity.io/inner circle or find any of the links in the show notes and you can schedule a free call with us. Speak to you then.
I think before the program, when I was in the gap between the boot camp and starting the program, it's really hard to know if you're going in the right direction. And I think that was for me the biggest struggle. I'm like,
Yeah.
I have a couple hours a day to dedicate to like this career transition. I would need to know that it's in the right direction because I would hate to waste another year just pursuing the wrong direction or, okay, this course didn't help me whatsoever.
Oh man, the tragedy of the endless courses because people think they need another course, more focus, more priority,
Yeah.
less core, more priorities, and more
Yeah.
focus. So, I guess looking back, what changes have you noticed in yourself, and what was the actually? You know what? Let me start with another question. Looking back at yourself and therefore extrapolating to most people, because I think most people would relate to your experience. What do people get wrong about the entire transitioning your career to become a professional coder story? What does everyone seem to be getting wrong about it?
It's that's funny, and I think I almost came to this revelation almost today. I feel like and it's like the last few weeks for me. I think in my head before, like when I was doing the boot camp and before I kinda started your program, and even kinda during your program, in my head, I'm like, "Okay, once I get a W-2 for a software engineering position, once I've my 40 hours a week are not doing financial analyst work, it's doing software engineering work, then I've made it. Like it's a binary 0 to
Yeah,
1, and it really is more of a just a gradual transition, like, I'm doing my 40 hours a week as a financial analyst, but on the side, I have these other endeavors, this pursuit, and then
yeah.
I feel like it's just I'm falling into software engineering now. I feel like, I don't know, these last few weeks having now receiving recruiter calls, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, like, maybe I actually am a software engineer at some point."
What's changed in the last few weeks that recruiters are now interested in you? And you're still you're a newbie engineer, so this entire thing
Absolutely
that oh,
newbie.
there's no junior jobs. If you're getting calls from interview recruiters, how many examples do people need? So again, compared to who you were 2 years ago and now,
Hmm.
what how would you advise someone who's like, oh, I'm not getting opportunities, or I'm really scared about entering this industry, or I want to be a software engineer? What advice would you give them about what that actually means that they probably never heard before?
That they probably never heard before is the hard part, because I feel like I might be just saying platitudes, but to be honestly kind of consummately optimistic
Yeah.
and just keep your GitHub commits going. I mean, just keep coding every day. I really do feel like my my GitHub history, I feel like the fact that it's long at this point, and that absolutely started with your program, I feel like that has helped immensely. And then my
Why? Why?
LinkedIn,
Tell people why that matters.
well, because then it signals to recruiters who may or may not even speak any of your languages that you're actually living and breathing all of this coding. And then I do think having these side projects,
Of course.
side like startups things, being current, like they're present on my LinkedIn. So like my LinkedIn right now shows my day job 100 years
Yeah.
ago until present, and then also these startups up until present. So
Yeah.
I think I think recruiters look at that and they're like, okay, he's literally coding currently.
This is why you're getting the results, and this is why I wanted you to sort of speak on the podcast. Is people just obsess about just writing the code, and they don't realize that, okay, would you agree with the statement? Learning to code is far easier than becoming a professional programmer.
Yes, certainly.
Okay. Would you think that learning to code is enough to become a professional programmer?
Certainly not.
Okay. Now,
Get
these to me are the two big points that most people get wrong, right? Everyone obsesses about the learning to code stuff. What they don't realize is to get hired, you need to de risk yourself in the eyes of the
Mhm,
market. And one way, all the ways you've talked about are ways to de risk yourself. Hi, if you want a no BS insight into how to change your career, whether to code or something else, and how to actually get opportunities in tech, then please subscribe and like. It's no BS because I have zero incentive to mislead you. I just want to help you and give you tons of value so that you will consider working with me to get to your next career. Take a look at the description text below to learn more about the training I offer. But I do post content here regularly, and by subscribing and liking and hitting that notification bell, you will get to know when I post new industry insights for you. You'll also know within about 3 seconds if you want to learn more, but at least you won't miss out. Oh, and please follow me on LinkedIn too. I pretty much post there every single day. Just look for my name, Zubin Pratap. All right, so please like and subscribe to this channel, and let's get back to the episode. Everyone obsesses about the learning to code stuff. What they don't realize is to get hired, you need to de-risk yourself in the eyes of the
mhm,
market. Now,
mhm,
are there better coders than you? Almost definitely. Right? Are there better coders than me? I've met them every single day I meet them, right? Doesn't mean that's going to be enough.
mhm. And
So
I actually, sorry, I was just gonna say
no, no, no.
I have a friend who's a software engineer, much better coder than me, and he doesn't de-risk himself whatsoever. He has
Okay.
actually 10, 12 years of experience,
Yeah,
and he just got laid off a month ago, but he doesn't have a LinkedIn, like doesn't have a GitHub. And
yeah,
he's last month or so struggling to get rehired, and
yeah.
I'm trying to help him along the way,
Coaching.
but yeah, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And how much of this stuff about career building did we talk about? Like, did I not emphasize this a lot during the program? And also, let's be honest, most people get grumpy at me because I don't start them off with the code on day one. I spend a lot of time talking about this stuff. What do you
Yeah.
think of that approach? Do you think that approach works? Do you think it's the wrong approach? I'm really open to that feedback.
No,
Totally myself here.
I very much do. And I feel like you've used this example a lot of like, oh, everybody knows how to get abs. It's like, yeah, you do. It's just it's just the hard work. But it really is a mentality shift, a mindset shift. So I think your first probably it feels long. The first phase of your program, it feels
Yeah.
long. It was the 2 months, but it's really like the shortest, quickest part. I think maybe because it's like weekly deep dives, and then all of a sudden
Intensive.
you're
Yeah.
just on
That's
your
why it's
own
called the
to
intensive phase. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
to the coding. It really is not rocket science. It's just perpetual effort, and that's the hard part.
For an unreasonably long time, past the point where you secretly hoped you were going to succeed miraculously.
Oh, totally. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping to have a job 6 months ago, and
Yeah.
but now
And
that I've
you've only been in the program now, what, 4 or 5 months? So you've already made a
yeah,
lot of progress in that time. But you've
yeah,
been trying for
exactly.
over a year now. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, you're not far. Like obviously, if you're getting recruiter interest, which we talk about regularly for the accountability check-ins, then it's just a question of trying to double those
Yeah.
and then failing as many interviews as you can, because
I
that's where
also
the level
know
is.
had I not joined your program, started your program, I feel like I would be exactly where I was before the program started, which was
Why do you say
not.
that? Because you're quite a hard worker. So why do you feel that?
I think it was easy for me to start something, not see results, and kind of let it fizzle out. I
Okay,
think I
interesting.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think I had joined a couple smaller, like nothing to your scale, but really like little like side programs of here's a few $100 to do this little course, and I would get halfway through it, not feel like I was going in the right path, and then just let it fizzle out. So
So,
it's
oh, easy. And then you do that 5 times and half a year's gone by, right? Like that's
exactly. Yeah, that's
okay,
and that's the big fear.
which is fair. And I think at our age, I mean, I'm obviously older than you, but when I was transitioning the same age as you, that really counts against people. Like I think I don't think people fully appreciate how exponentially harder it gets by the time you hit mid 30.
Mhm.
And that's a reality. No one can change it, but what you can do is change your tactics and strategies around it. But you said something really interesting, which is you feel like you're not on the right path and then you change, right?
Mhm.
I hear
Mhm.
this all the time, Matt. So looking back, why do people, in your experience, why is there this temptation to jump around, go for the shiny object? Where do you think that comes from?
Oh, it's the dopamine quick fix of starting a new course, starting a new program. I mean, I even throughout all of schooling, I remember being excited on the first day of class, and then when it's the last few weeks of class, you're like, "Can this class please be over?"
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you could switch classes immediately, you might have. So, yeah, I think it's that. I think it's the quick fix. Yeah.
The novelty, the excitement, need for something new, and the shiny object. So, why, in your opinion, now looking back, is that such a dangerous way to do it?
'Cause you'll do everything half-assed. You'll do everything to 10%, 20% completion, and then you'll have
Yeah.
nothing, master
And
none.
what's the big cost for that for you?
Time, 100%.
Ah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's not even
I
the
mean,
money anymore.
at least for me, I feel like I started like, I'm 37, I feel like I started this transition at 32, and then
Dude, I had two. Yeah,
I'm
32 for
like,
me too. Mhm.
yeah, that's, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, "Gosh, I can't have
A
another
long
5
time.
years go by. I can't this next, like, 6 months, like, for me, I'm like, this is when it, like, needs to happen. Needs to This just needs to happen."
I'm pretty sure we'll have you on in a few months again with your first role. Like I think you're already
I
on. You're getting the recruiter interest. You're building you're de-risking yourself systematically. Like we show you how. You've got all the
Mhm,
support from Brian and me. You've got also the handful of other people that we
mhm,
have because we work with so few people. There's a handful of people who are there cheering for you, and also now you know what works and what doesn't work. You're
mhm.
not distracted by the dopamine. You're, if anything, I've killed that in you guys by making you so disciplined. So I kind of took all the fun out of it, didn't I?
Yeah. Well, and I was gonna say, actually, with the well, no, don't worry, there's still plenty of fun. But with the recruiter interest, it's really nice because all of a sudden, like, I know you have kind of in your head, like, "Oh, let's interview for companies you're not enamored with, that's not your top tier A-list companies, like, let's get some Bs and Cs in there, like, that you may or may not want." Because I say yes to pretty much every recruiter that
As
reaches
you
out.
should. As you
Yeah,
should.
and then it really does just force you to practice interviewing, and it really, I don't know, it makes it feel a lot easier. Because I remember right after the boot camp, I got a handful of interviews, and I would lose sleep and stress over every single one, and now that I'm getting interviewed 2, 3 times a week, it's really nice. It was one of the positions I interviewed for this week is it's a 6-month contract to hire, so, like, even if they gave it to me, I wouldn't probably take it. That's a little too risky for me.
Yeah.
Um, but to have the interview and to have the telling of your story to just a new fresh face is really good experience. I don't know. I like that a
100%.
lot.
And every time you do it, you get better at it for the next one. You learn by through contact, which is why we spend so much time on market development in the program. So, and by the way, when you explore that 6 month option, let's get on the phone and walk through it together because a couple of ways to negotiate some things like that could de-risk it for you as well, that could
Mhm.
also offer the company some benefits. So we can talk about that tactically as and when those things arise. But I mean, do you see how from here on it's just a matter of time? Like
Yeah, no, I think that's the optimistic part that I was absolutely not optimistic before I started the program. I was pessimistic and like, shoot, I spent 20 grand on a boot camp and 1,000 hours, and I don't feel like it's gonna happen. And now I feel like it's gonna happen. So, and now
wow.
I do feel like it's a matter of time, which is nice.
Also, can I just say I can't believe you spent twice the price of the program on a boot camp, and like our
Yeah,
program is like a year long. That's
yeah,
insane. Like
yeah.
we are way
It,
too cheap. I'm gonna tell
and
Brian, you got to bump the
it's
price.
it's I mean, money is one thing, but the time commitment was massive as well. It was Tuesday, Thursday nights, 6 to 9 PM, and Saturdays, 9 to 2 PM, 9 AM to 2 PM for like 9 months. It's not a small thing.
No. Well, I
So,
mean, we ask for a lot of time too for the 12 months, but we make it flexible for you and we
yeah.
flex to you.
Yeah.
But we can do that because we work with so few people. So that's part of the strategy that we use. But man, look, this is super exciting. Can I ask you, what's most exciting for you about the future of now, standing where you are now compared to 2 years ago?
Personally, I think I am optimistic that 5 years from now, I'm in a totally different career track versus 5 years ago, I was where I am. And I don't know, I feel like, that TV show Severance, like, it's gonna feel like that in 5 years. If I'm in 5 years where I am now, it's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
One of
Uh,
the things, again, it's I think we've talked about it in the program also, but one of the life changing moments I had is I think it was Tony Robbins or something when he pointed out, he's like, this is why I spend so much time on the goal setting stuff, the clarity, the North Star principle, all of the stuff in the program. He said, if you don't know exactly where you want to be in 5 years, you're already there.
mm,
Dude, that scared the pants off me because, like you, for almost 15 years, I kind of just let
yeah,
life take me where it's going, where the river
mhm,
goes. And I
mhm.
wasn't swimming anywhere particular.
Yeah,
And that scared the pants off me because I'm like, what? Hang on. So everything that's ahead of me kind of looks like what's behind me. That's not what I want, you
yeah,
know?
that's a really good way of putting it. It's like you need to put the carrot wherever you need to pursue instead of just hanging out. I don't
Correct.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's really I feel like when you're younger in your 20s, you're just kinda getting by and everything's new and exciting,
Yeah.
but, like, if you blink, like, a decade will go by.
It-
It really will.
why? Where did all this time go, man? Where does it
I know I'm gonna
go?
blink and be 50, so I just wanna be where I wanna be at that point because 'cause I'm
Oh,
gonna wake
man.
up and my toddler will be 12.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. Dude, I just turned 44 a couple of weeks ago, and I was like,
Mhm.
how did this happen? When
Yeah.
did this happen? Where was I
It
when all this happened? Right? Because I'm like, I was 37 when I started seriously committing to transitioning to code, and 38 when I did. I'm like, really? It's been 6 years,
yeah.
and in that time, all kinds of things have happened, and it was
Yeah,
all
we
kinds of things
old.
that I wanted to didn't happen, even though I tried. Like that's life. You win some, you lose some. But as
Yeah.
long as you're just making progress towards your goal, it feels okay. But you're right, man. Like it goes in the blink of an eye, like
Yeah.
big chunks of time. And we have what, 8 decades at the moment. I don't know if I want to live longer than that. Out of which 4.5 are done. I'm like, are you serious? I've got 3.5 sticks in this box left. Like that's crazy.
Mhm.
Now I'm glad you think about time in that way too, man. Because it's the one everyone's so obsessed with the money stuff. I'm like, dude, it's the time stuff. I can't borrow time from a bank, but I
Yeah.
sure as hell can get a 6% mortgage, no problems.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not even the same thing. All right, man. Well, look, I'm super excited for the fact that that's what you're thinking about. That where you see yourself in 5 years enthuses you. It's exciting. It gives meaning for
Yes.
you and your family. Hopefully, Diddy's dog is still around. Then I don't know. Hopefully, it's
No,
it's
she's
nice to see her
around.
around. Oh, there she is. Well, hopefully she'll be around in
Sweet.
5 years too.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's 1 years old, so she'll probably be
Oh,
hopefully around for
fingers
10.
crossed. Unless that, yeah, and so you better build that app that you were talking about the rattlesnakes in your area because Diddy
Oh, yeah.
does. Yeah, you got to do that,
Exactly.
to protect old Diddy. But dude, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate you taking the time. I once again, hats off, kudos and respect for the amount of work and commitment and the courage. Because when we met and you joined the program, or you would think you're joining the program at that time, and this is just before I baselined you, I hadn't even baselined you. You were quite cynical and dejected because of everything you'd gone through, and you were like, I remember you telling me, "But are you sure I can do this?" Yeah, you
Yeah.
asked me that. I'm like, "Yeah, man." And you're like, "But I'm 36." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah.
okay."
Oh, man. I was such a baby back then.
And
Just
it's such a baby. Look
so
how you've
so
grown.
mature now.
Yeah, but that's the truth, man. Like hope was faint for you. You in your
Yes,
world.
certainly. Yeah.
And I was like, "No, of course you can do it, but it's going to take. You're going to have to pay a price for it.
Mhm.
This thing takes effort.
Yeah.
It's not what social media says it is. Yeah,
I think that's definitely the case. You just it's obviously you need to be willing to put in the effort, and I think you help with the direction of the effort. So
correct.
long as I'm directionally correct with my effort and the effort doesn't feel in vain, then all of a sudden you're kind of happy to make the effort.
Correct, because that's how you travel anywhere. It's distance and speed, right? That's right.
Yeah.
It's a sort of direction and speed. And so, I can't do the speed for you. I can't do the crunches for your abs, but I can tell you exactly what to do for your meal plan, which exercises and how often, right? So, just seeing how far you come and how close you're almost there. You're already getting all the recruiter interest in a so-called down market. You're doing a bunch of sort of freelancing gigs while working a full-time
Mhm.
gig. You're a father of a young toddler, etc. And you obviously take time to stay fit and stuff. So if you were to look back, sorry, if you were to speak to somebody who is today in the same shoes that you were in, let's say 2 years ago, after your boot camp or before your boot camp, dejected, not sure where you want from your life,
Mhm.
what message would you like to give them? Because this is your opportunity to sort of throw the ladder down for who's coming after you.
Well, step 1, call Zubin. But step
Thank
2
you.
step 2, no, I would say I don't wanna say start a side project or start a side thing, but, definitely keep your eyes open. There's 1,000 little startups that for I mean, one of my startups pays, one of them doesn't pay. Don't and I told him to the one that pays, I was like, "I could actually care less about the tiny amount of money that I'm getting from it." It really is about
De-risking. Yeah.
experience, networking. Yeah, it's invaluable as a resume booster. So
Yeah.
I really do think that's the key is like working on the sides for like committing code to actual repos, building actual products on the side.
Yeah.
I think that helps a lot. I think that
Yeah.
helps de-risk you a lot.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. And is there a message of hope and inspiration you'd like to share?
Yes, definitely just stay hopeful, keep coding. I'm trying to think what other platitudes, but that may or may not resonate with me from 2 years ago, but
Here's an easy way to think about it. What advice would you give yourself from 2 years ago?
join the startups. Like work, commit, like not the open source stuff, but like
Yeah.
find an actual group of people that are trying to build a
Yeah.
thing, have
And
a
kind of
hand
roll this.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
just put yourself out there because there's actually a lot of startups out there that are also when you can help, you help. When you don't, when you're busy,
They're
you do
desperate for
better.
resources and nobody's applying for them. And
Yeah.
this is as much do or die for them as it is for you. And that's the kind of relationship you want to start with. That's
Yeah.
how I started. It was a startup that was so high risk that nobody else wanted to join them. And I was so high risk that nobody else would want to hire me because I was 38. What the hell do I know about code kind of situation? And it
Mhm.
was probably one of the top 2 jobs I've ever had in my life. And
Yeah.
it set me up for Google. Like, what the
Yeah,
hell?
that's awesome. And you're just gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn to meet a lot of interesting people,
Yes.
and yeah, add to your code stacks, dabble in different code stacks. Don't be siloed in one particular stack or framework.
Yeah. Stop obsessing about the tutorials and learning the new language. Instead, be with coders so you can think like a coder.
Yeah,
Makes a
absolutely.
huge difference. Yeah. Awesome, dude. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I'll let you go because I know it's the evening for you, but I appreciate you taking the time out to come on the show.
Of
And
course.
I'll see you around next time.
Yes. Thanks
Thanks.
for having
Thanks
me.
again, Matt. You take care, man.
Okay.
Do it. Just subscribe. You know you got to do it.